Hello, everyone. My name is Diego Mancilla, and I'm the director of the Spanish-English Certificate in Translation program at the University of Massachusetts in Boston. And I'm here with Kelsey Tanner. She grew up in Westboro, Massachusetts, and graduated cum laude from the University of Delaware with a degree in Spanish Studies. Since her graduation in 2013, she has been living in Cadiz, Spain, working as a language and cultural assistant in the public school system, as well as a private English tutor in the afternoon. She has experience translating in the service and tourism industry and has been interning with the NEPM, which is a New England Public Media Program, Presencia, since February of this year, 2020. So, welcome, Kelsey.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we have two questions for you. First, could you tell us about your experience in the field of mass media, and in particular, your experience working with the New England Public Media? And what is your current role, and when and how did you start?
Sure. Well, to be honest, my experience is very, very little when it comes to translation and the media. This internship with NEPM and the program Presencia has been my first exposure to any type of translation in the field. So I've been interning since February, and up until now, I've mostly been responsible for editing documents that are in English and then translating them into Spanish. So those have been articles mostly about issues in the Latin community. So one of them, for example, was about Latin voters in the upcoming election. So yeah, that's been pretty much my experience so far.
Excellent, thank you. So based on your experience, could you tell us about translation within the media industry, and what is the role of a translator or a bilingual specialist in the work that you've been doing so far?
Well, the program that I'm interning for, Presencia, is about the Latin American community in Western Massachusetts, so in the Springfield area. So obviously, for that type of program, there's a huge demand for translating. Also because they have material that is in Spanish and in English, because the producers and the hosts are bilingual. So they will go to different parts of the state and interview people who are from Ecuador, and that'll be in Spanish. So what they do is, with their videos, they subtitle both in English and Spanish. So if that day they are working with native English speakers, then they'll have the subtitles in both English and Spanish. And I think that's something that's becoming much more popular, like we've learned in the course. Subtitles are available in so many different languages. So I think the need for translators in that sense is very important.
Yes, it is indeed. So what are some particular skills, techniques, strategies that you've been learning or applying in this class that are especially important in this field of media of translation, and also vice versa? What have you learned during this internship that helped you understand better our course materials and improve your translation skills?
Well, definitely for the tasks I've been assigned thus far, the lessons that we've learned about editing and proofreading were definitely helpful. And those are things that seemed to me before to be kind of self-explanatory. until you get into the details, and especially when you're dealing with two different languages. That was really helpful, and that's helped me so far in my internship. And also just keeping in mind regionalisms and localization, because I've been living in Spain for 6 years and in the same region. So I've mostly been exposed to the Cadiz Spanish, which is very specific. So for me, it's been great to have exposure to different types of Spanish, and just watching the videos online from Presencia and people from all different parts of Central and South America. So when I'm translating into Spanish, I have to keep that in mind when I use the vocabulary, and that has been a challenge, and it's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this internship, because even though I am from a community that has mostly Latin American population, I've become very used to the Spanish that they speak in Spain, more specifically in Andalusia. So that's been really great. And the language is I mean, they're completely different. So that's been a personal challenge, and also something that I didn't really think about before getting into this master's program or the internship. So
Excellent. What a great experience for you to be living there in Cadiz, Andalusia. What do you think are the responsibilities, challenges, and opportunities that bilingual journalist faces today?
well, I think just keeping in mind the audience. I think some of the things we've looked at so far this week, and also what we learned about last semester when we talked about regionalisms and localizations. I think that's a huge part of journalism too, when you're translating one news story to another language, and what can get lost intentionally or unintentionally in translation. I think one of the videos, I can't remember the name of the translator, but she was talking about how omitting one small part of an interview, or a speech in written text, can change the tone completely. So I think in that way, translators have a power that, for being invisible, quote unquote, they do have that power to change the message of a text or of a speech or an interview. So I think that's really interesting.
And that is very true. We are translators they hold power in the way they convey a message. So
Right.
I have a last question for you. So what do you recommend for anyone who would like to start working in the field of media translation, or simply apply their bilingual skills in the field of media?
Well, I think something like the internship that I'm doing with look at local programming that is looking for translators, and just apply to an internship and just get yourself experience in that world. I've learned so much so far in my internship, and I didn't necessarily, I wasn't really drawn to media, but I've become really, really fond of it throughout this experience. So I think just expanding your horizons and just trying an internship. I mean, this is only a few months, but it's already opened my eyes to a lot of opportunities. And as we've been talking about, there's so much demand for bilingual content in the media. So I think any local TV programs, newspapers, or anything would be happy to have you, and it can be a really beneficial experience.
Excellent. We are really very proud of you as a student of ours here at the University of Massachusetts in Boston. We are really happy that our students had the opportunity to experience the real world in terms of, in this case, media, but in many other fields. So I want to congratulate you on the job that you're doing, both in the internship and in the translation program. And thank you so much for taking the time to talking with us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for exposing me. I mean, if it wasn't for the program, then I wouldn't have heard about the internship and wouldn't have had that opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey, and all the best. Good luck.
All right, same to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.